Hello everybody, today I'm going to be showing you how to change out a background in your profile pictures in Photoshop. So this is going to be a really easy step-by-step guide on how to do it, and let's go ahead and get started. So I actually have a picture that I would like to change the background of right here. So what I'm going to start doing right now is just taking the picture that I want to use, which is a picture indoors, and I'm going to go ahead and drag it here. You see where it says plus copy, that means it's going to open up a new file for me. Awesome, so I have the file that I want here. So this is the picture that I'm going to be using, and what I'm going to be doing is removing this door in the background, and this should be a professional shot. So some of the trending types of profile pictures that I've seen out there is, you know, maybe a cool outdoor office building, you know, nature in the background, or maybe a nicely lit office space, something like that. For this picture, it looks like this was taken in a warm light, so I'm gonna try to find a picture, and I already did, so I'll show you guys what I chose, but a warm light picture that kind of matches the person, so that the background doesn't look like it doesn't belong or too edited in Photoshop. So this is the picture I chose. So this picture, as you can see, has a lot of warm tones, and it also has some really nice greenery in the background to add some life. So now that we have our picture open, we need to go ahead and right click on the layer here. So select your layer and change it to a layer from background. And essentially what that's going to do is allow us to edit the image, because the background layer is locked sometimes, and you're not able to do everything that you're able to do with just a regular layer. So next we are going to be using the magic selection tool, so the wand tool, and this is really to very quickly select the things that we want. So I'm going to go ahead and select the background because that's the part that I want to cut out. So I'm going to click here, and as you can see, it didn't quite select everything I want. So a couple ways that I can adjust the way that these things are being selected is I can adjust the tolerance. So right now the tolerance is set to 24. If I raise the tolerance, it'll select more. If I lower the tolerance, it'll select less. I'm actually going to keep it on the 24 that it was. And I'm actually going to use Shift. And you see what happens is your little wand tool gets a plus sign. And I'm going to click on the areas that I want to add to my selection. And sometimes you have to hit undo if you select too much, and undo is Control Z. So again, I'm hitting Shift, so adding that plus sign, and I'm just going in and manually clicking on all the pieces that I feel are the background. So now, as you notice, it's starting to select a lot of her jacket, so I'm actually gonna lower the tolerance a little bit, maybe gonna set it to like 15. And continue to just kind of click and select. And it's okay that this is not perfect because we have another step after this as well. So once I generally have like at least her hair really well selected, and you can kind of go in here and, you know, and by the way, I did that by holding Control plus plus. And you can also do Control minus minus to zoom out. So those are just some quick keys that are really handy to have. So I'm gonna kind of keep tweaking, and when I feel like, okay, this is kind of good enough to get me started, which I think this is pretty good, the next thing that we're gonna do is we're actually gonna use the masking tool. So The masking tool is right here, right under your two color palettes. So you can go ahead and click on that. And what that shows you is everything that's like the regular color is what is selected, and everything that's red is what is not selected. So this is a really cool tool because you can actually use the paintbrush and the eraser tool to now play with this masking. So I'm going to go ahead and select my paintbrush. Now that I have my paintbrush right next to that letter P on your keyboard, you can do open and close bracket to change the size of your circle. So these are really good quick keys to know. And I'm just going to go ahead and start painting on the things that I don't want to be selecting. So if you guys remember, we're trying to change the background, so we don't want to select any of the face or the body. So I'm going to take that out. So I'm minusing that piece out. And you know, this is something where you really want to zoom in and get all the details that you want. You know, not cut out too much of the hair. But also the cool thing that you're able to do then is go to the eraser tool and take away. So like, let's say I accidentally, let me go back. So let's say, whoops, you know, I accidentally deselected too much. So I'm gonna go to my eraser tool and I can just erase it. And another cool thing you can do as well is you can adjust the type of paintbrush that you're using. So this hardness is actually set to 61, so I'm gonna set that to 100. So it doesn't have those soft edges you see here. And I'm gonna continue to just now fix those mistakes that I did by taking out too much or too little of her hair. So now another really cool tool or a quick key to use is shift. So notice that I'm clicking my mouse right here. So if I hold shift and then click here, I'm actually making a line. So this is really useful when you get to things that are very rigid, like her jacket, for example, and you can really make some nice, concise lines instead of, you know, using your mouse and, you know, making a mistake, things like that. So I'm hitting my close bracket to make my circle a little bit bigger here. And then I think I'm done with the eraser tool. Now I'm gonna go again with the brush tool and just also make that a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna add her jacket in. So again, I'm gonna use that shift tool that's super handy and just kind of draw along her jacket, which is just creating these nice straight lines for me instead of me trying to trace this with a mouse. So this is really a lifesaver, and once you get used to using this, you're going to be using shift all the time to make nice, clean, straight lines. And the end product will look so much better. Alright, so now I'm going to hit my close bracket just to make my circle a little bit bigger, and I'm going to fill out the inside of her jacket here. Get all those pieces. So again, the things that are marked as red are things that are not selected. And I'm just gonna continue to use the brush tool and the eraser tool interchangeably to get all of this cut out the way that I want. And also, this doesn't have to be perfect either, because I'll show you guys once we get a little bit further in, we can play a little bit more to get this more closer to what we want. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and just finish this up. You guys aren't gonna see all of that tedious work, and when I'm done, I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I finished masking out this person. So now what I'm going to do is just click on my little mask button just to kind of take a look at my selection and make sure I didn't miss anything, and looks like I did right here. There's a little bit of a selection, so I'm going to go right back and catch that little piece too. Okay, looks like that's it. Now that I have the background selected, I'm going to go ahead and go to layer, and I'm going to hit layer mask, and I'm going to hit hide selection. So now we have this masked out, and it's going to be really easy to just hit control and click on our mask to grab that selection again. So we don't have to do that work ever again. And we also didn't delete or edit the original photo in any way. Usually deleting parts of the original photo is frowned upon, so we need to use masks to avoid doing that as much as we can. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add the background onto this canvas. And I'm going to go ahead and resize it without holding down any keys. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to hit enter to place it. And then I'm going to drag this layer to the bottom so that it's behind my person. So now you might see a really stark outline on my person, and I don't love that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the layer of the person, and I'm gonna control click my layer mask here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the select menu, and I'm going to go to modify, and I'm gonna go to contract, and I'm actually gonna contract this by 5 pixels. So now you can see my selection is a little bit inside of the person here. So the reason that I did that is because I want to be able to blur it a little bit so it's not so stark. So since I control clicked this mask, it's no longer selecting the background, rather the person, so I need to inverse that. I want to select the inverse of this, so I'm going to hit Control Shift I, and now I have the background selected. Now that I did that, I'm going to go ahead and go to Filter, and I'm going to go to Blur, and I'm going to do a Gaussian blur. I'm going to move my little screen so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better, and that 2.6 isn't bad, but I think I'm gonna maybe go a little bit less to 2. I think is good, and I'm gonna hit OK. Now I'm gonna hit deselect, which is Control D, and I have a little bit softer edges now. So now I'm gonna Control minus to zoom out, and it looks a little bit better than it did before. It doesn't look so cut out. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change my background image. So I'm gonna select my background image, I'm gonna right click it, and I'm gonna rasterize the layer so that I can edit it. I'm going to then go to a filter, and I'm going to blur it, and I'm gonna do a Gaussian blur. And this time I'm gonna go a little bit higher. I'm gonna go to about 7.6 and see what that looks like. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, and I'm gonna hit Control T while I have this layer selected, and just mess around a little bit with the composition. I want to show a little bit more of the greenery. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so here's our finished product, and I'm very happy with it. So now I'm gonna go to File, and obviously Save As, and save that on my desktop, but I'm also gonna export it as a PNG because this is going on a website. So you're going to want to export it as a PNG and name it and hit save, and that's it. And thank you guys for watching, and if this was fun and interesting and easy to follow, please like and subscribe. I should be making more of these videos. Thank you. Bye.